is Helen Murray King, and I am here to read Chapter 10 of Not a Dream. So why don't we just jump in and see what happens. Chapter 10. More problems. They came out of the forest on a hilltop overlooking a small town. Rock formations made the town's road slant around the homes. For that reason, the town was bunched together, making it appear small. Grass covered the hills, making the village flourish in greens, pinks, and assortments of other colors, bursting into bloom, with all the flowers surrounding them. Great! If this girl can paint horizons, she would be on one of the hundreds of hills around here, John whined with an angry sigh to add the effect of his frustration. Well, how are we going to find her now, genius? Oh, John. Excuse me? Helen turned, for she thought he was addressing her because Burke had disappeared as soon as they had stepped out of the forest. So you expect me to lug you around all day so you can sense this person? John didn't even acknowledge her words. Helen stared for a second and then realized that he was talking to Burke. But she couldn't hear the spirit on the fact that Burke was hiding himself inside John's head. I think that when we find this person, we should ask if we can go to their home to discuss things. I don't know about you, but I'm tired. Yeah, that sounds like a plan. A good plan. This time, John was looking at her. Let's just hurry and find this painter. Let's split up so that we can find them sooner, Helen suggested. Are you going to be able to find the painter without the help of Allison? John asked. Don't worry about me. I'll be fine. She brushed past him and started towards the pathway to the town. She was all too happy to be taking a break from the two brothers. She took the east side of the village and John took the west. The two of them had been walking for a week and 3 days. They were extremely tired, and walking over all the hills they had to face was not appealing. Helen was on her third or fourth hill when she saw an artist sitting by a little pond painting. Something about this painter just made her stare. It was a girl with her back to Helen, so all she could see was the girl's long beach brown hair. The girl wore a white polka-dotted shirt and black capris, with black ballerina shoes on her feet. This girl appeared dainty to Helen. Excuse me, Helen said quietly. The girl jumped and turned to face Helen with emerald green eyes. Can I help you? I was wondering if you could answer a question for me. Helen said, thinking as quickly as she could. I don't like doing personal paintings. The girl turned back around to begin painting again. Helen looked around. There was no one nearby. I want to ask you about the spirit that's inside of you. The girl streaked a red line across her painting. She turned her head towards Helen. You don't know what you're talking about. She turned back towards her painting. And now you've ruined my painting. John decided to catch up to Helen at that point, in a bad mood, as he usually was. You know, it would have been nice if you, Burke, or even Allison could have told me that they can pinpoint where the cursed person is because for some freakish reason they are all connected. Calm down, John. You're going to scare her, Helen said quietly. She was worried that John's attitude would make the situation worse. Every day was a struggle to keep her normal composure. Who are you people? The girl was up and backing away from the two of them. We aren't here to hurt you. We want to help you, Helen said calmly. The girl looked at Helen wildly, still backing away. Get away from me, you freaks! For crying out loud, do you want to be cured of this little possession, or do you want to keep living with a ghost inside you for all of your days? Because we can't continue without your help, John said tiredly. John! Helen turned on the boy. You know, you really need to watch what you say. Someone could hear you. Don't tell me you forgot what happened in your town. You guys are possessed? The girl was still moving away. Yes, and we want to help you, Helen said calmly. Is there any way we can talk somewhere a little more private? Yeah, we can go to my house, the girl said shakily. She led the way to her little apartment. After forcing the two tired companions to walk over 2 more hills before stopping outside a dollhouse-colored apartment building. This is more private. John looked around the strange-looking apartment building. The 3 possessed humans walked themselves all the way up to the top of the stairs. Well, it's more private than out in the streets, the girl answered. My name's Ellen, by the way. I'm Helen, and this is John. Helen whapped John on the chest with her hand. Hey, he growled. I just wanted to establish first-name basis before we entered my home, Ellen said, pushing the door open to her small apartment. It looked to be one large room when you first entered, a kitchen, a bathroom, and 1 bedroom. The kitchen was connected to the back of the big entrance room. The bathroom was to the right, and the bedroom was to the left. The first thing John did as soon as he walked into the apartment was sit down on the big red couch that was up against the wall that separated the kitchen and the main room. He laid down. When the door closed, Burke jumped out of John. You guys, we could at least be a little polite, Helen scolded. I'm sorry, Ellen. We've been traveling for some time now and are extremely tired. It's all right. Ellen said offhandedly. Her spirit jumped out then. Rosie, can you see that our guests get clean clothes and a warm bed to sleep in? I'll start cooking some food. Thank you, Helen said with a smile on her face. John was already asleep and didn't care. But we need to discuss our spirit problems. We can talk about it in the morning when we all have had a good night's sleep, Ellen said happily. All right, if you insist, Helen said, sitting down on the couch next to John. She leaned back on the comfy material and closed her eyes. It was the first time since she had left the mansion that she had been comfortable. She thought about what her life had been like before this, a mother who hated her for being her father's child, a father that had left because he hated her mother. The only thing good about that triangle was her boyfriend and best friend. Her stomach clenched at the thought. I'll be right back. All right, Helen said, poking her head out from around the kitchen doorway. Helen went down the stairs to the outside world. She needed the fresh air. She had a lot to think about. Well, one thing in particular, did she really want to go through with this? If she did, she would return home, wouldn't she? Hi! Rosie appeared right next to Helen. Helen jumped and looked around. Where's Ellen? Isn't this dangerous? Ellen is inside, and no one's around at this time of night, Rosie said cheerfully. Besides, Ellen wanted me to keep an eye on you. Aren't you going to fly back together if you strafe too forward? Or too far? Helen asked the spirit. Nope. Rosie giggled. What makes you think that? Allison? Helen looked for the girl inside her head and found her in a corner of her mind. The spirit perked at the sound of her name. I need some guidance. I don't know, maybe the spirit has some strange abnormality. No two people are alike after all, Allison answered with a shrug. At least it seemed like a shrug in Helen's mind. Oh, well, is there some way for me to get my body back? Rosie asked Helen eagerly. I heard something about a cure while John was sleeping. Yes, we are searching for the cure to the curse over this world, Helen answered the spirit. That's so cool. Wait until Ellen hears about this. Rosie was almost screeching with giddiness. Well, we should be getting back, Helen said awkwardly. Yeah, okay. Rosie skipped off with Helen walking slowly behind her. So what you're saying is that Rosie and I have to travel with you to go find these 11 people you need to fix this little hiccup with? Ellen asked skeptically when the three of them had sat down and discussed how to cure the curse that plagued their world. Well, technically, you only need to travel with us to find 9 people, Helen said reassuringly. There are many different horizons to see the sense in which we're going, John added, trying to help the situation. Well, traveling would give me a different outlook on life, Ellen said thoughtfully. The other thing I get is my brain to myself. Yes, of course, Helen answered quickly. All right, I'm in. Helen said, pounding her fist in her hand enthusiastically. John and Helen looked at each other happily. All right, then, time to go. Helen stood, ready to move on. All right. We just finished chapter 10. Hooray! Not even halfway through the final draft, and we're almost done with the rough draft. Goes to show how much more work I put into it. But anyway, sorry about that. I always leave in the description below a place where you can buy the book if you're interested in it. This version that I'm reading is what is published. But anyway, yeah, so if you're interested, buy. If not, don't. It's not really anything for me. It's more for you. But anyway, hopefully I will see you guys next time. Bye!